Welcome to another episode of The Average White Guys. My name is Alex Haynes, the owner of A Squared, a social media marketing company. I'm here with the illustrious, amazing, good-looking
Justin Scouten with LLW Properties and Community Real Estate.
That is amazing. And Justin, what are we talking about today?
The deceptive fruit of passion.
What? That is a crazy title because it's kind of funny. My business is all about me following my passion.
Mine, on the other hand, is more about the growth, and that's where my passion comes from.
Really?
So what's your story on it?
You know, funnily enough, when we started this, I started as a film and production company. Me and my business partner, Alex and Alex, we started A Squared. That's how we came up with the name. Two Alexes who got together and really wanted to tell stories. And we started with video. We love video. I went in my hands-on internship with Five Stone Productions. My business partner did live theater and toured the United States. And we loved telling amazing stories. Over time, helping our clients with like commercials for like TV ads and stuff like that, they would start coming to us and saying, hey, what do you know about this thing called Facebook? And could you help me log in? Can you explain how to use it? Could you just maybe do it for me? And that's kind of how we stumbled into doing social media as a content creation business, because we realized really quickly this was an epic place to post content that's going to resonate with people. When Facebook first came out, I was one of the first people that got into it. I had to get like a .edu email because that's the only way you could actually get into Facebook. You had to get like an invitation. I worked for like 3 weeks to get onto Facebook when it first came out. Like that's how soon I got into it. I loved it, but it took probably a good 5 to 10 years before I realized the opportunity when clients started asking me. My passion is telling stories, and I love doing that. And we are able to do that for our clients through marketing, for creating organic content and telling great stories to get people to actually click links and turn those likes into dollars. That's what we talk about. So my passion comes through telling amazing stories, having really good graphics, creating videos for my clients. It's all that artistic passion, the stuff I love doing just on that unique platform of social media. That we were talking a little bit earlier, that's not you at all though.
No, I'm in an industry where if we go to trade shows, learning seminars, we always joke about nobody or no counselor has ever said, hey, why don't you get into the HOA industry? It is lackluster, to be honest with you. But there are portions of it that make it fun, make it so this way I do have a passion. First, my passion is to see how I can grow the business. First, how I can grow the business with making sure my clients are getting the most out of what they're paying us for. But then where I do get the passion for it is I took over in a community about 13 years ago. It was the first community I took over on. And it was in some shambles. It was not the most desirable area. They were 5 years behind on getting roofs done. They were 5 years on getting their painting done. We took some call to actions. We got some loans in there. We got everything fixed up. Their house values went up. The crime went down. And this is a local community where you talked about if you live there, it wasn't the most desirable as far as even walking through the community. That was at least my perception before I got into this business. Well, now I don't hear that at all. And that is where the passion came into it. So although I didn't have a passion to get into this industry, I have a passion to grow it and make my clients feel like they are getting the most out of it. And that is fun to me. So that's where I think you can take the different aspects of a passion. You have a passion into the artistic world. I have a passion into the growth of it. I say that because I'm sure you have the growth that you want to do with the company. There's no doubt about it. But again, where does it start? And I think that's the question that we need to get into is how can your passion make your business grow?
I think that's really a good question. And I'm really hoping people who quite haven't started or exploring the idea of getting into a business is listening to this podcast, because this is an essential question you should be asking yourself. Passion is great. Passion may direct you to what you might want to turn a business into. I'm passionate about storytelling. I turned it into a business. That's great. However, and I can tell you after 14 years of being a business, passion is not enough to run a business. Passion is great. It gives you motivation. For me, I use it to help make sales. My passion comes in when I'm doing sales and stuff like that. But passion is not enough to run a business. It takes processes. It takes doing a bunch of work you don't want to do. It's about finding what really matters at the end of the day. There's a lot that goes into running a business. And there's a lot of times, I think this is where our title comes into the deceptive fruit of passion, right? People out there will say, just find your passion and that will be enough. And you can make millions. You can be that next TikTok star, that next YouTube star. Of course, I'm talking about stuff I work with, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure you've heard that told to people as well at conferences. Oh, you just find your passion and run with it. But that's not going to work. That's not going to keep a business running.
Yeah. And when it comes to passion, it again is, you got to look in your heart to find out why you get up every morning. And I think it's one of those where we all have heard those stories like you just mentioned a second ago. I think Steve Jobs talked about that. Oh, you need to find your passion in your business. And I love to do construction, and I do construction. I have my contractor's license, but that wore on my body. I know I needed to take it to another level. So I lost my passion in the business because of the fact that it was not the avenue I wanted to go. I didn't want to come home. I didn't want to work on things. And so with that, what was my growth is finding how I can actually develop myself and what I can take a business to. That ended up being my passion.
And that's interesting because over the time we've been in business, my passion has shifted. So we talk in other podcasts about how important it is to create content. And you think as a social media marketing company, we'd be making a ton of content for ourselves. Well, actually, our passion is helping other people. Like, I get so excited helping other people do stuff because at the end of the day, my passion is to be a director, is to tell stories, tell other people's stories. And so I get more passionate about creating other people's content than my own. So my growth has been helping a community grow, helping other people get their voice heard where they normally wouldn't. Now, I know we talked about this before. We had a little prep session, right? That there's other types of passions. What are the 3 types of passions that our audience could look at and go, hey, that's what would really motivate me?
Money.
Money's good.
Growth, which we already talked about on both sides. Mm-hmm. Work, which is the artistic, the trades, any of those type of things. And one of the things when we talked about money, it's like everybody has money as a passion. Everybody has money, as the end result of a company.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a good reason to start a company or to drive your passion.
I think there's a caution here, though, because I've seen people purely motivated by money. And you know what happens with them? They jump from business to business to business. The same people that were trying to sell you a health product yesterday are now telling you about a new crypto service today. And tomorrow it's going to be something totally different. They never plant in a business and grow it beyond how much money it can make me. They're always flipping. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the people that are truly I just want those dollar signs, they're constantly jumping to different businesses. And to me, as a business owner who believes in longevity, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I don't trust them necessarily when they come to me with the 4th new thing they found. That's the best thing ever because they told that to me 3 other times.
So it brings up an interesting thing that I like at what Alex Hormozi always talks about, because this is where the growth part comes into it and where you can't use money as that passion. It's that Rocky cutscene. The Rocky cutscene in the movie is about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Well, that Rocky prep to that took him 4 to 5 plus years to get to there. And so that's where you can't just have money as your objective or your passion here. Because if you're just after the money, it could take you 5-10 years to get to the point where you know your business, your customers know your business. So that's where I feel the growth comes into it. And then it's also what we've been talking about with the artistic part of it. If you can find that part that gives you that motivation, then I think that's where it hits.
Absolutely. And for those, a great example is, let's say you're a woodworker and you started as a hobby, maybe in your garage, and suddenly you're getting all these orders. And one day, 5-10 years down the road, you wake up and you hate your job because it's become a job, and you get up, fulfill those orders. You're always got a ton of work and you have a ton of money, but you just somehow lost your passion, so to speak. Well, maybe you didn't lose it. You just lost sight of it. Your passion was whatever it was that got you at the very beginning up to make something, right? It was to make probably a certain product, or you're really excited about the quality, or you're doing something unique and different. And what happened is over time, your success drove you to doing orders or doing business. And sometimes success for each of us looks different, right? As a business, money is great, but sometimes you have to give up money to be happy. And sometimes that means taking less jobs and doing the things that actually make you satisfied with what you want to do as a business. If you make $120,000 a year, but you're happy because you're doing your side projects as well, great. If you're making $350,000 a year because that's your goal and you have less time for side projects, but you're happy because you're fulfilling clients and they're happy because that's what your growth is, that's cool too. All of us have different goals. All of us have different places we're going to be.
So what we need to work on
Yeah.
is looking at the three things we've talked about: money, growth, or your work, craftsmanship, artistry. We both agree that money is not the best aspect to use for your passion.
Yeah.
So find what your growth is, or find what your trades are and how you can combine the two of them.
I agree. I think that's really good. And if you're listening to our podcast today, of course, we're going to say, hey, give us a like, give us a follow, because that's great. That helps with our thing we're doing here. But really what Justin is saying is you need to take a moment, find your center, figure out what you're truly passionate about. Yes, it could be you love doing people's hair, making content. Maybe you really want to do HOA. Maybe you're that weird person that's like, you just love numbers. That's cool too. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you want to be an accountant. Whatever that passion is, take a step back and go, hey, if I did this in and out every day, am I going to be happy? What is really going to make me happy? Do I want to help other people? Is it just my own gain? Is it a money amount? Do I want to grow a business? Do I just want to be a single business owner, small time, maybe in a big pond, and I do just enough and I have enough and I have free time? Maybe your goal is just to have free time. If you want to spend time with family, that's okay too. What you need to do is take a step back, sit down, write it down, and then put that somewhere you can look at when you start your business, because you're going to forget that in a year. You're going to forget that in 2 years. You're going to get busy doing the in and out, day in, day out, and you'll forget what makes you happy. So write it down so you know what that is, so you don't ever forget. Would you agree with that, Justin?
That's great input.
I think that would help our viewers out there, our listeners. Now, as always, this is Alex and Justin, and we are
The Average White Guys.